We are honored to be joined by the mayor of the great city of Newark, Ras Baraka. Good to see you, Mayor.
Good to be here.
The issue that we need to talk about, that everyone's talking about, is the Newark Newark water situation. As succinctly as possible, what is the problem and how did it get to be where it is?
Well, the city of Newark has older homes that have service lines that bring water into their home that are made out of lead. The service lines are actually owned by the homeowner. They have to be removed. They've been there for centuries. Maybe 25, 30 years ago, the city began putting corrosion control in the water to stop the lead from coming from the pipes and getting into the water. It began to fail somewhere around 2017 or so. It began to fail. And so when we got proof that it was absolutely failing.
Proof by whom?
The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency.
So the federal government directly involved?
Yes. So we do all the testing. So it's this characterization that people come and test our water. We do all the testing.
City does?
City. And then we report what we find. So we reported high levels of lead. We couldn't explain why we were getting high levels of lead in the beginning, so we cut a pipe out of the ground and sent it to the EPA. The EPA scientists looked at it and told us that the corrosion control was failing and that we had to get a new corrosion control.
In 17?
They told us in 2018 that it was failing.
So where do the filters come in? Sorry for jumping.
2018, we started giving out filters.
Explain the water filters. They're not city water filters. They're put out by a manufacturer.
Right. They're by Pure Water Company, Pure Filter Company, excuse me, who manufactures filters for people all over the country, the world for that matter. People use them everywhere. They're NSF certified. They were approved by the EPA. We put 39,000 of them out. We started in October 2018. We did 3 tests and found 2 of them were not working to the capacity that we thought they should work to.
Mayor, sorry for interrupting. Why only 3? Because that number confused me and I'm sure a lot of other people.
Because it wasn't a formal kind of test, right, to test filters. What we were actually testing was the new orthophosphate that we were actually putting in the water, right? So we were testing that to come in one end and come out the other end. So we tested a home in the north water, one in the south, and one in the west to test to see if the new chemical was actually getting through the pipes.
And 2 of 3 said what?
So they reduced lead, but not below 15 parts per billion, or not below.
Yeah, try to explain that one.
Right. Well, lead and copper rule says that you can only have up to 15 parts per billion of lead in your water. It did not reduce it below that. So in our mind, they failed. One of them actually did. We tested since then 225 filters, 6 times a piece. With a whole kind of group of people who tested it, a whole protocol. And so we should have those results back.
But as we do this program, do not have them.
Well, actually, they do have them, and they're working on the findings of it. I'm very optimistic of what it's going to say. But, they're looking at the findings of it now. We'll be able to say something to the public by the end of this week or the beginning of next.
Long-term fix. The County of Essex, the County Executive, Joe DiVincenzo, you can check out an NJTV News story on this, together with the mayor and Governor Murphy. There was a press conference. The county came in and helped you bond for $120 million.
Yes.
To do what, and how's that paid?
To pull the lead service lines out of people's homes. A while ago, we actually had to get the law changed on the state level to allow the city to be able to do that. That was, most people don't know about that because we're using public money to fix people's private homes. So we were allowed to do that. So we began doing that. We've changed maybe 900 lead service lines already outside of the county's money. And that would have taken us about 8 years to complete if we would have continued the way we were doing it.
And with this bonding with Essex County?
About 24 to 30 months tops.
What will happen in 24 to 30 months? Make it clear to
Every
folks.
18,000 lead service lines in the city of Newark, Belleville, and Hillside will change all their lead service.
The mayor mentions Belleville and Hillside because, if I'm not mistaken, the water in those communities, as well as the water in Newark, comes from?
The Wanacue system. Excuse me, the Pequannock system.
Not the Wanacue system.
Not the Wanacue, the Pequannock
system.
Yeah, the Pequannock system.
Help us on this, Mayor. This is also not easy because there are certain homeowners, don't they? I don't want to call it eminent domain, but aren't there certain issues as to whether homeowners will allow you in or not to do these things?
Yeah, we do have to get their permission. We have introduced a law to the city council that would allow us to go on people's property through home rule and change their pipes, even if we can't get in touch with them, if they're being too difficult, or things of that.
What about
matter.
70% of the folks in the city living in rental properties? What about those landlords?
Well, that law will help us go onto their property and change those pipes.
So, Mayor, to those who have been critical, both in the media and community groups, there's also the Natural Resources Defense Council.
Right.
You laugh as I say it. They're bringing a lawsuit against the city.
Yeah.
For those who have argued, you know what? The city hasn't been as transparent as it should be. The mayor hasn't been as transparent as he needs to be on this in terms of when this happened, when they knew about it, and what the danger was. You say?
I say that's incorrect, and it's people are creating information that's just not true. Every time that people know we have lead in the water is because we did it. We told them. We did the test. 2016, when it was lead in the schools, we reported that, which changed the state's testing system around the entire state. 2017, we reported it. 2018, we reported it. We keep reporting it. We reported the filters are not working. We did that.
But Mayor, real quick, you had said at a certain point, quote, the water is absolutely safe to drink. Now, this problem is not a new one. There's about 2.5 years that you've known about this. When you said this water is, quote, absolutely safe to drink.
Did you read the whole thing?
Go ahead, put it in context.
Right, because what people have been doing, led by NRDC, has been putting that up there.
That group, the National Resources Defense Council, I'm sorry.
Put this thing up there, Newark, the water is safe to drink, right? When you keep reading that, it says, unless you have an older home or a lead service line. That's what it says.
That's the rest of the quote.
That's the rest of the quote. If you have a lead service line, or if you live in an older home, you have a problem. It says that on the robocalls. Now, we can argue or quibble about if we think that is, effective, right? Or if it causes confusion. But to say we misled people a lot is just not true.
Well, there's intent and then there's execution.
Right.
In golf, we call it a mulligan.
Right, right.
Would you have said it differently, given how easy that is to take out of coverage?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's confusion, right? So people have made it cause further confusion by just reading the byline, which is like when you read any paper. The paper says lead is downtown Newark. And then you go further on and read it, and you find out one building had a test that was incorrect, or the people in Elizabeth don't want Newark's water based on this, and then you find out it's not true.
But if you're looking at yourself, you say to yourself, you know what? There was a better way to say that. I wish I hadn't made that quote. I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just asking you, in learning from this.
Sure, there's always a better way to say it. I think that because of the confusion that it is causing, but to characterize it as us misleading or lying is just not true.
Is there a trust-related issue here now, too? In the eyes of some?
Sure, absolutely.
And you do what today? I'm a student of leadership. You are a leader. You say what? This is a challenge of regaining the trust of some. You do what now?
Well, we continue to solve the problem. That's what I've been trying to do from the very beginning. That's all we're going to do. We're going to solve the problem. We're going to move every lead service line out of the city of Newark and surrounding cities, for that matter, that access our water, that have lead service lines. We're going to remove them.
That's Newark's responsibility. Why isn't it Bloomfield and these other communities that are
it's actually the
place?
homeowner's responsibility. It's actually the homeowner's responsibility, not the municipalities, because the lead service line belongs to the homeowner. But we're taking responsibility for it because we know it's too costly for homeowners to remove.
Of course, they can't afford that.
Right, they can't afford it. So the city is taking responsibility for it. We are raising the money for it with the help of Joe D. and Essex County.
By the way, that loan, $120 million loan, paid off how and by whom?
Well, the city has to pay it off over a 30-year period.
Does that mean taxpayers?
Well, no. Initially, it will be, generally, it would be taxpayers if we did not have another...
Like $1,000 per citizen, if I'm not mistaken.
If we didn't know how to have another source of funding. But we do. We have other sources of funding that would allow us to pay the debt service without raising taxes.
You're confident 24 to 30 months from now, Mayor, we will be having a very different conversation about water in the city?
Sure. Maybe sooner. And we're doing this even after we put the new orthophosphate, the new corrosion control in the water. So we anticipate that lead levels will begin dropping by the end of the year.
Before I let you out of here, anyone who says Flint, Newark in the same sentence, you say?
I say Flint changed their water source on purpose. They didn't put corrosion control in the water because it was too costly. Ours failed. We were always in compliance with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Flint was not in compliance with the EPA or the DEP, and so Newark was.
Mayor Ras Baraka of Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, I want to thank you for joining us and
Thanks for having me,
sharing your perspective on this. All the best. They're right there. This has been State of Affairs. We want to continue the conversation, so follow me on Twitter at Steve Adubato. Make sure we see you next time. Thank you, Mayor.
I work for Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I'm a catastrophic case manager. I'm a nurse. I feel a sense of responsibility to each and every member that I speak with on the phone. I know where they live, I know their towns, I know the hospitals they go to. A lot of times I know their physicians, and I love helping people at very difficult times of their lives. The job I have now is the perfect job for me. I think I was born a nurse.
Also brought to you by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C. PSC&G, committed to providing safe, reliable energy now and in the future. And by Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters. Your future is in our building.